Hey everybody, this is David Triff. Today is November 16th, 2012. The time is 9:36 p.m. Basically, I'm doing this video to just get something off my mind, something I thought a lot about lately that's been going on in the news and with the government and all. But lately, it's been really bugging me about their true agenda, about what they really want to do. And something just occurred to me. Basically, all these this rioting and Occupy Wall Street in Houston and everything. It's basically all it's doing for them is allowing them to enforce their laws on us. Basically, the more angry we get, the more empowered they become. The more they're able to enforce their stupid, pointless, useless laws on us, which eventually will come into full effect. But anyway, basically that's what that's doing. It's giving them permission to do all these things to us, these hurtful and wrongful things, increasing taxes, imprisoning people, even killing people, which we obviously don't know about. For example, here's a good example: the gun enforcement laws. It's funny how Lil Wayne in the music industry, I'm sure y'all have all heard of him and seen him. Personally, I don't like him. I can't stand him. I think he's full of it. He's a joke. All he does is enforce his true agenda, which he probably doesn't even know about it because he's so drugged out most of the time from what it looks like. But anyway, in his music video, "My Homies," I believe is one of the new ones. The Colorado shooting that happened at the theater of the premiere of The Dark Knight Rises. It was funny how in the video, a couple days before that happened, in the video, it shows him in a theater, in a movie theater, and there are a number of sick skeletons sitting in chairs. And in a few shots, in most of the shots, it shows 12 to 13 people, which was the same number of how many people died at the theater shooting. And if you pay attention, everybody covers their ears and puts their head down as if protecting themselves from gunshots or a concussion grenade, which is basically what happened in the theater. And I know for a fact that can be coincidence. The video is very disturbing. Shows just a lot of sick images. It's just really wrong, in my opinion. I'm not exactly a Christian or Bible thumper, but I do believe in God. But anyway, and in the video, it shows they're at a dinner table, and you'll see what I'm talking about if you watch it. It's called My Homies, I believe. And it shows people with horns, basically representing Satan and the devil. Women with horns and basically headless people at a dinner table. Depictions of Satanism, and the devil and demons, and it's just wrong. But anyway, they use Hollywood in a big way, to do this, to enforce their evil agendas, such as Lady Gaga, Rihanna, Beyonce, Britney Spears. People don't see it. I understand that, but that's not the point. But in the back of your mind, it sees it. It understands this subliminal messaging, hidden messages, hidden images. If you pay attention, to the lyrics, in some cases, if you play these words backwards, you'll actually hear something different, something more sinister and evil. But anyway, my point is, Obama being elected, I don't like him. I don't like Obama, Romney, Bush. I don't like either of them except Ron Paul, because he speaks for the people. He seems to be the only good person. He might have a darker agenda than anybody. I don't know. But at the moment, I like him because of what he represents. He's for the people. But everybody else, it just makes sense now how they're trying to piss the country off. They're trying to piss us off with Obama being elected. I mean, there's so much racism, circling around this issue. Him being elected for a second term, it pissed a lot of people off. I understand that, but that's not the point. They're doing this to stir us up, to cause revolution, so they can go ahead and enforce the New World Order on us. That's what it's all about. It's giving them permission and more control and power for them to do this. such as the gun enforcement laws, like I was talking about. About that shooting, I believe it was actually set up so they can actually do this. These shootings that have been going on, I don't think they're just random acts of violence. I think they're premeditated. That they were planned, way ahead of time, so they can go ahead and enforce their gun laws on us because they're afraid of people. They're afraid of us. They're afraid of getting shot. They're afraid of us retaliating. That's what it is. Me personally, I don't own guns. I don't like them, but I still find it wrong how they're trying to take that away from us. I just find it strange how they're trying to do that, like as if they're freaked out about something because they know what's going to happen. There's going to be a huge revolution that's going to start. The FEMA camps, they're going to start locking people up in them. Obviously, if they don't accept Obamacare. Um, I know about the guillotines, in these camps. Of course, they're not going to tell us about them. They're going to cut our heads off if we don't accept the RFID chip, and that's what it is mostly. And me personally, I'm not going to accept it. I'll be first in line, to have my head cut off for all I care, so they can go ahead and do with that. Anyway, but yeah, basically, it all comes together with God and us and the devil. That's all it is. Is the fight between good and evil. Basically, we're just caught in the middle. And you have to choose whose side are you going to be on. You know, Personally, I'd rather be on God's side. And you can call me crazy, you can call me stupid. I don't care. What I believe is what I believe. I'm not going to sell my soul just so I can live a couple more years and then burn to death. Because even if you are spared, because you got the mark of the beast, the RFID chip, what it really is, so you can buy, whatever you want just because your money will be secure, your soul is not going to be secure. It's not going to be yours anymore. It's going to be theirs. These people in the music industry and the entertainment industry, they say that you're selling your soul in the process, but when you die, that's when you actually sell your soul to them. You can't sell your soul just by signing a contract in blood. Basically, you have to get the mark of the beast, and that's it. It's gone. Your soul, they have it. It's gone. You're going to hell. That's what I believe. And of course, they're not going to tell you that. They're going to tell you that this microchip, it's the best. It keeps everything secure. Of course, it's going to keep everything secure. All your information, nobody can rob you, but it's not going to keep your soul secure. So in the end, that's what it comes down to: just being accepted. When Jesus, finally gets here, when he comes. So yeah, there you go. That's all it is. Choosing between good and evil. Which way are you going to go? Of course, a lot of people, they're going to stand up to him because they don't feel, they deserve to be in prison, for what they believe in. They don't want to listen to what they tell them, or they don't want to give up what they want to give up, their rights and their guns and their freedoms. But yeah, that's all this is. It was all, this tension was on purpose to build us up. So when we finally fight back, they can enforce all their laws. They don't have to fight back yet. It gives them ample amount of time to do what they need to do. Behind our backs, they're enforcing these crazy and insane laws behind our backs. And that's what it's about, They're not come out and say, hey, y'all can't do this or that. They're not doing that. They're just writing laws, left and right, And that's what all this protesting and fighting is doing, and arguing, and spitting in their faces, so to speak. And, basically, in the end, it's all about control, money, power, and then finally destruction, depopulizing, taking out most of the population so they can have more control. Transporting the bird flu through New York, as I seen in some videos, it was just frightening. It was crazy. But anyway, I'm not doing this to get views. I don't care about that. I really don't. I'm just trying to get my point across to let people know what's really going on, their real agenda. Everybody, even Clinton, it didn't matter who was president. It was all wrong. It was all done in an evil way to do everything to lead all the way up to this, to our destruction and demise. Good and evil, God and the devil, that's all it is. You just got to choose one. But that's pretty much it. Thanks for listening.